The fourth industrial revolution, it's a fusion of the physical, the digital, and the biological world. It's changing not only what we are doing, it's changing who we are.
Society and how we're going to live is being defined right now.
Harnessing this revolution requires the involvement of all stakeholders, from public and private sectors to academia and civil society. The World Economic Forum Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution Network ensures that the development and application of emerging technologies benefits both people and the planet.
In the last century or so, we've seen numerous attempts by numerous groups to try to take over the world. And basically, world rule was their goal. And of course, we all remember Adolf Hitler and his Third Reich, which was going to expand, cover the whole globe and so forth. We've all seen that. And then we saw Israel came back to the land in 1948. Many of us have been reading and teaching Bible prophecy in the years between then and now. And that brings us up to the present. Except that we see something very dark emerging that reminds us of what was going on back in the 20s and 30s.
Right.
And let me just use a key phrase here: World Economic Forum.
The World Economic Forum serves a few different purposes. It was started by Klaus Schwab, who grew up in Hitler's Germany, by the way.
Yes.
Which explains, again, he's basically, in a nutshell, trying to bring to the planet the Fourth Reich. Now, you can't call it that because people will freak out. So he calls it the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Basically, all that Hitler wanted to bring to the world in the Third Reich, this utopia that he was building and forcing upon the planet, Klaus is now doing. Hitler only made it as far as Germany. He lost the war, but Klaus has picked it up, revamped it, relabeled it, and now he's bringing that to the planet. And this World Economic Forum, he started in 1971. And so for 50 years, that thing has been functioning on a twofold purpose. Number one, this is where the global elites, including Klaus, who started this group, go every year annually in Davos, Switzerland, is where they meet at the World Economic Forum, and they discuss how they're going to, and this is on tape, steer the planet the way they want it to go. Since 1971, so basically over 50 years ago, the World Economic Forum has also been training future global leaders who for over 50 years has been planted in every major developed country and who will do his bidding. Klaus has basically used the World Economic Forum to train these people, not just an annual global meeting. It's a training institute, and you can see this, believe it or not, they have their own website. They don't shrink back from this, they tell you all about it. It's called the Young Global Leaders Program. Current administration, the Biden administration, Biden is a world economic plant. In order to take control of the global economy, which is the goal of the Great Reset, they want to reset it, take control of the economy, you have to first get rid of the existing one. And what is it that governs our existing economic structure around the world? The dollar. So the dollar system has to go in order to create the excuse to create a new one, this Great Reset. When you know the agenda from Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum, then it begins to explain the unified behavior, by the way, of all these countries around the world. They react the same way. You had the crisis that happened in 2020 when the bug came, right? How is it that 190 countries reacted overnight exactly the same way, lock and step, whatever? Because the countries are planted with World Economic Forum, SS guys, following the agenda. And that agenda, admittedly by Klaus, was the global crisis that they're going to usher in, basically the Fourth Reich, they call it the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the Great Reset. It's the excuse to get it kick-started, and they have a goal in mind, and this is all over the place. They want it all in place by 2030. That's why the Great Reset's also called Agenda 2030. Wow. The agenda is to take over the planet, including America, by 2030, not just Biden. Who also is a graduate of the World Economic Forum? Justin Trudeau of Canada. Macron in France, a graduate of World Economic Forum. Angela Merkel, Germany, a graduate, and on and on and on it goes. I'll go over here back to America, because it's not just the political leaders around the world. This is why they're all fulfilling the agenda of Klaus. It's the corporations, it's the media, it's the scientific communities, educational communities, they're all in on this. Both sides of our aisle, Democrats and Republicans, are working for Klaus Schwab. And it's all industries, corporations, politicians, Democrat, Republicans, all over. And this is happening all over the world. It's been going on for 50 years. And the last crisis was the trigger to start all this. I'm convinced that whether he admits it, realizes it, or knows it or not, he and the cadre who's working for him around the world is building what the Bible alone is the only book on the planet that tells us where this is headed, what these guys are up to. It's the mark of the beast system. It's the Antichrist kingdom. And if you look at Revelation 13, you see in verses 7 and 8 that he was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation, the Antichrist. Well, that's a one world government.
Yes.
Verse 8, all inhabitants of the earth will worship the beast. That's a one world religion. And then verse 15, he was given power to give breath to this image of the Antichrist so that it could speak and cause all who refuse to worship the image to be killed, which implies a big brother global micromanaging the planet system, because you're going to give an order, so it has to be able to reach everybody around the planet. Number two, when the order is given, you're going to be able to know if people obeyed or not instantly, and then you're going to know their exact location because it says, and if you don't, you're going to be killed. So that's a big brother system. And then of course 16 and 17 is the classic thing. They're going to control the buying and selling on the planet with some sort of biometric marking system, right hand, forehead. So that's the one world economy, cashless society, mark of the beast. So basically, when you look at what these guys are doing, they call it the Great Reset. I'm convinced it's the Antichrist kingdom. These guys are laying the foundation, because everything that they're bringing to the planet in this new utopia they call the Great Reset is installing a one world government, a one world religion, a big brother global surveillance state, a prison planet, and a one world economy, cashless society that will be biometrically tied into your body. And gee whiz, on tape, guess where they give you options to get a microchip? In the hand, or Klaus is really big on the brain chip, go figure, which is the two places for the mark of the beast that is going to control the buying and selling. But you look at the same technology that they're promoting, by the way, which will allow you to buy and sell.
Yeah.
Go back to Klaus Schwab, mark of the beast. Yes, it'll control the buying and selling. We've already been conditioned. People are using their hands to make payments,
Sure.
chipping for payments. And so we get that. But everybody's going like, brain? Why does the Bible say right hand or the forehead? Who's going to do the forehead? Well, I'm telling you, this guy's big on the brain chips. He's on tape in 2016. He's having an interview in the UK, and he basically says in this interview, as we've all gotten used to microchips being in our clothing, we're all going to be microchipped, and he always points to the head. And then when you look at it, you go, oh, they can't monitor your thoughts. It's actual technology already out there. I got on tape, I got a scientist who, by the way, thinks this is a great thing. He says that they will be able to not only monitor your thoughts, but they will be able to insert thoughts, they will be able to delete thoughts, and they're pitching it as a health issue. Like, everybody's suffering from depression. We could go in there, if you get a brain chip, we could delete the depression. You won't be depressed anymore. Soldiers suffer from PTSD, right? We could go in there, delete that thought, they'll be fine. Pitching is this great utopia, but what's it come at the cost of not just, it just so happens, not just right hand, but the brain, a brain chip that they want to bring to the whole planet that will tie you into this matrix system that you're talking about, the internet all over. Everything's going to be microchip, people, animals, products, you name it, and you're going to be tied into the system, which involves, yes, controlling buying and selling. It'll control your thoughts. And then, not saying thus saith the Lord, but I got to add this. A lot of people, they wonder why, when the Bible talks about those who take the mark of the beast in the 7-year tribulation, that they're doomed. You're going straight to hell. You don't collect $200, you don't pass go, nothing. You are doomed. And people go, well, why? Well, one, I think it's because it's a choice. You don't wake up on the couch, oh no, they chipped me, I'm going to hell. You chose to do that, number one, and it's an act of worship. Revelation 13 mentions it 4 times. They worship the beast. But with that said, put this technology to it. Maybe the reason why they're doomed is because, I'm not saying thus saith the Lord, but something to think about, but because the moment that a thought comes across their mind, because they took the chip,
Yes.
it's monitored, it's instantly deleted, you won't even get that far.
Wow.
They'll wipe it out. But why did God dedicate nearly 1/3 of this book to future events? Because he wants us to know the future, but so that we're not caught off guard. It's a wonderful thing for the Christian because it keeps us from falling in love with this wicked world system. We're saved for the world to come, but we forget that. We're also called to get out there and share the gospel, the greatest news of all, that there's a way out of this mess. We forget that. So it motivates you to holy living and things of that nature. That's all for our good. Even the lost person's going, man, something is wrong this time, and it's not getting better. We're not going back to the normal. This is the new normal, which is not good. And so they're starting to wake up and ask questions. And so basically what I say is, if anything, God's given us a golden platter opportunity to make it even easier for us to reach our culture, because we should be able to plow in and say, you know what, you're right. Things are messed up. And you're right, there is an agenda behind the global scenes. Let me tell you about it, okay, what the Bible says about it, and how to get out of it. But number one, we need to, as Christians, take serious the days that we live in. I don't know how far into this godless agenda we'll be a part of before Christ takes us out. But let's not act like this is not going on. It should motivate us to get the gospel out as fast as we can, because maybe today's the last day. We don't know. These guys are building the Antichrist kingdom. We're not going to be a part of that.